Hello friends, for today's video I'm going to be going through a large amount of books that I've accumulated over the last few months. Most of the time when I do book hauls, my books come from my local bookstores. Those would be Bookman's and Changing Hands. I'll have them linked in the description bar. Definitely highly recommend checking them out. And you can actually connect your bookshop.org account and your Libro FM account to Changing Hands. So if you would like to support a specific indie bookstore, I would recommend them. But anyway, for today, most of the books are actually special editions. There are a few regular editions, and I'll start with those, and then we'll go through the various different special editions. So starting with the regular old basic books, the first one would be House of Salt and Sorrows. I actually own this book. I have the Book of the Month edition, and for a long time it was a standalone, and then recently House of Roots and Ruin, which I'll show later. It's a Barnes & Noble exclusive. It just came out, and ever since the sequel came out, a lot of you know I like my books to match. I like the sizes to match, if you couldn't tell. And so I was like, you know, if I can find a used copy at one of my local bookstores, I think I'll go ahead and get it so that way the sequels match. And I like having Book of the Month editions because I love the same sized books and their editions are always exactly the same. But because they didn't release a sequel to this one, I was like, all right, well, let's see if I can find it. And I did. I found it at our local bookstore. It was $9, so I went ahead and grabbed it. After that, also from local bookstore Bookman's, we got Killers of the Flower Moon. My husband, at the time I'm filming this, is currently buddy reading this with his dad. Every month they swap who gets to pick a book for them to buddy read, and then on the weekends they call each other and they chat a lot about the book that they've been reading, and they have a certain amount that they read to each week. And this particular month they are reading Killers of the Flower Moon. Sean saw the ads for the trailer for the movie, and he really wants to see it, but he decided, you know what, I want to read the book. And so he picked it up. His dad has been reading it as well. They're both really liking it. And I was asking him, is this something that I should pick up? And he was like, yes, absolutely. So I'm going to eventually read it. And I think I'll probably wait until they're almost done with it, because I have a hard time reading like just a little bit every week. So I'm going to wait, and then I'll read the whole thing. And then Sean and I probably will go see the movie together and then do a discussion for it over on my side channel, which, by the way, I did a movie discussion with Sean and our friend for Oppenheimer, and it was so much fun. I hadn't really done a movie discussion before, but it was a blast. So if you like movies and you like movie discussions, definitely check out the side channel, because we're planning to do one for this, and then maybe I'll do other ones in the future. I'm thinking some Studio Ghibli ones would be a lot of fun. Anyway, Killers of the Flower Moon, we also found this one used, which is great because I was worried we wouldn't be able to find a used copy, but we did. So went ahead and picked that up. Also, still shouting out Bookman's. This next one, I'm sure the employee has no idea who I am, but if ever they saw this video, thank you. It was so nice of them. So Bookman's was doing this summer stamp card where you would get a stamp for every book you bought, and then when you got your 10th book, you would get it free. And the idea is that your 10th book, if you had multiple books that you were purchasing when you hit that 10, they would try to give you the one that cost somewhere in the middle of however many you had. So let's say you had one that was like $10, and then you had a $50 book or something, and then you had one that was $20. They would give you the $20 one for free. And we happened to get two that were $8, and then one that was new, and it was almost $30. And we asked, we're like, is it possible for this to be the free one or no? And they're like, it's not supposed to be, but it's fine, I'll give it to you. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. So they gave me He Who Drowned the World as our free book, which is so nice because, again, you know, it's typically almost $30. I really enjoyed the first one, He Who Became the Sun, and I have the US edition, and then I have the Illumicrate edition. And I like both the covers. I really liked the first book of both of these. I liked the first book of this duology, and I liked the cover for both of these. So I wanted to get the sequel in both editions as well. So thank you again to them. I'm sure they'll never see this, but it was very, very nice. After that, the next couple did not come from my local bookstore. I just happened to buy these from Barnes & Noble, but I did see Thornhedge at Bookman's, and I was like, dang it, because I got it at Barnes & Noble. But anyway, Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher, and then also Weaver and the Witch Queen. I talked about both of these in a new fantasy releases wrap-up. So if this goes up after that, I will have it linked, and if it goes up before, then be on the lookout for that if you're curious my in-depth thoughts. But anyway, I really liked both of these, so I'm glad that I took a chance on them. I was pretty sure I would because I liked The Witch's Heart by Genevieve Gornichek, and also I like T. Kingfisher. Who would have ever guessed that? So I was like, I can take a chance on these. I've been primarily getting things from the library this year. So these ones, I don't know. Now that I've been getting so many things from the library, I'm really hesitant to buy things new. But because these are basically auto-buy authors for me, I was like, I'm gonna take a chance. And it paid off because I really liked both of them. That's it for the basic editions, and now on to some special editions. So the first ones that I'm going to show came from Illumicrate. They are not my standard genre that I pick up, but the first one would be A Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting. Thank you to the individual who recommended this to me. I thought it was adorable. I asked way back in February, hey, I don't really know where to start with contemporary romance or historical romance or anything like that. So whatever your recommendations, I'll see if I can find a copy at the local bookstore or something and give them a try. And one of you recommended A Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting, and I thought it was so cute, so I had picked up the regular edition. And then I saw there was going to be a sequel, and I was like, oh yay, that'll be fun. And then that the sequel wasn't going to match the first one. The first one came out in hardback. The sequel I don't think was going to come out in hardback. And then also the cover design was going to be completely different. And I'm like, why? Which is fine. It's not what really matters. But still, it irked me. And I was like, dang it. Oh well. Eventually, at some point, I'll get the sequel. Or I'll see maybe there's UK copies or something that will match. Well, Illumicrate made matching editions. So they both have sprayed edges. They have a similar design. I think they're really cute. It is historical, kind of like Regency type of story, so I feel like the design is very fitting. The inside is very cute for both of these. So I have yet to pick this one up, but I did really, really enjoy, I guess you could say, the first one. I don't know a whole lot about the second one, but I'm very excited that I got these. And eventually, when I need a break from fantasy, I'll try to dive into this one. I reserved the audiobook on the Libby app. So once that comes in, then maybe I'll go ahead and jump into that. Next up, I mentioned we would be talking about House of Roots and Ruin, the Barnes & Noble exclusive. So that is the next one. There's not much to say. I also did a new fantasy releases wrap-up and talked about this one. Obviously, I bought it, and then I went out and bought the first one again so it would match. So you can guess I enjoyed it, and I look forward to when I'm pretty sure we get a third one. So yay, Aaron A. Craig has, I think, pretty quickly become one of my favorite kind of like surprising under the radar auto-buy authors, but I've liked everything I've picked up. So anytime that there's news of a new book coming out by them, I will definitely be checking it out. Had a lot of fun with this one, and it is fun that it's just, they're sprayed edges, even though it's just a Barnes & Noble exclusive. I like that Barnes & Noble is starting to do that. The next one is also Barnes & Noble exclusive, and that would be Foxglove. I'm so sad because on Fairy Loot's website, they had announced that they were going to be doing the sequel, which would be Foxglove, the sequel to Belladonna, sorry. And I love the cover, the UK cover, and then thus the Fairy Loot edition. And so they were going to be continuing that with Foxglove, and it sold out immediately, and I was like, dang it. And it's supposed to be where the people who got the first one were going to get the first opportunity to get the second. And I was like, I think some people, I don't know, got access because it sold out so fast. And then they had a post on their Instagram. They're like, should we restock it? And I was like, yes. And I'm like, who would vote no on that? So hopefully they restock it. It's not the end of the world if I don't get it. I'll just get the regular UK edition. But anyway, I have similar to not House of Salt and Sorrows, similar to He Who Drowned the World. I now will hopefully be able to have the US and UK eventually for both the first and second. For now, I just have the sequel in the US. I do have the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition for the first one, Belladonna, so I went ahead and picked it up because I really like the naked hardback and I really like the artwork that you get on the inside. I think it's really cool. I do not like the sleeve cover. I've never been a fan of the like half a face thing or just the like really zoomed in face. It's not my favorite look. So I am just gonna keep this on the shelf without its sleeve. After that, we have Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. If you don't want to see it, if you've somehow managed to not see the Kickstarter edition, then go ahead and skip ahead until I'll put a time on the screen if you don't want to see it, because maybe yours hasn't shipped yet or it hasn't arrived yet or something. But for those of you that don't mind, here it is. I'm sure you've seen it. It is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And also the US edition, of course, I pre-ordered because it is gorgeous. And I think that the cover artist's name on Instagram is My Name is Tran. Every cover they do is beautiful. They're one of my favorite cover artists. But anyway, they did not do this. This is the Kickstarter edition. And it's so beautiful. The illustrations are amazing throughout the book. The book's presentation in general is stunning. So this one, and I liked it so much, the book itself. I loved the story, so I'm so glad to have this wonderful, wonderful edition. We have another Illumicrate edition. I meant to group this with the other two earlier, but I accidentally had it a little lower in the stack. But He Who Drowned the World, the Illumicrate edition. So I showed the US regular edition earlier. This is the Illumicrate. It's very, very pretty. I love the design on the edges. The naked hardback also is great. There's artwork on the inside of the sleeve. So I really, really like this edition. Glad that I got it. I can't wait to read it. I'm very excited. After that, we have some Fairy Loot editions. One of them, I haven't read this one yet, but I've seen really good things, and that would be Divine Rivals. I believe the sequel is coming out this year as well. And the naked hardback, of course, they always do a good job. Naked hardback is beautiful. The sprayed edges are really cool. I really hope I like this one. And if I do, it'll be exciting that the second one's already out. There's another book, A River Enchanted, from last year that came out, and its sequel came out, I believe, last year as well by the same author. So I am very impressed. They definitely get books out quickly. And that's exciting because that means if I really like this one, then there will be several books that I can jump into. A River Enchanted, I'm going to try, if I can, to read that one before the end of this year as well. And now we have one of my favorite books of the year because it was just so much fun, and that would be Bonesmith. I was so glad when I read this. I was like, oh, it's so good, and I knew it was going to be the Fairy Loot book that month, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait till it comes in. So I love this edition. Already the cover art is amazing. This artist is also phenomenal. They did Gideon the Ninth, I believe, as well. But to have that design on the edges looks great. The naked hardback is really cool. Unsurprisingly, the artwork, well, you can't really see it and appreciate it in its entirety unless I take it off, but this I think is very cool as well. And then there's artwork not just on the inside sleeve, but there's also artwork when you open the book. So there's just tons. They went all out on this one, and I'm so glad they did because it was so fun. And then on the back as well, they have the other main character. And then the print, which has some text, of course, on it. The print has that same artwork of the character Ren. So I really think that they did a phenomenal job on this edition. Another Fairy Loot edition that I got recently, Immortal Longings. So a lot of people have not loved this book. I think maybe it deserves a little bit of a higher rating. I also think that it just hasn't found its target audience. And I did a whole video kind of talking about book talk hype, the way that sometimes there's actually negative sides to it, the, I guess you could say, reputation that it gives certain authors, and thus when that author goes outside of the box from their usual type of book, it's hard for the book then to find the right audience. I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun. The sleeve, I really like the colors that they did, but the pages themselves have the same design as the sleeve. When you take the sleeve off, this just looks super kind of comic book-esque to me. I think it looks really, really awesome. And then when you open the book, there's more great artwork on the inside. And then on the back, similar to Bonesmith, you get another character. So I thought they did a great job with that one. The last few now would be the broken binding editions. They always do the best job. Everybody that gets books from them, one, knows that they have the best packaging. It's like opening a present. Every time you get a book from them, they often have matching bookmarks. There's little stickers on the wrapped book that gives you a hint of what you're about to open, and it's just, they are great. I think that their interactions with their customers are really fantastic. They seem to really value everybody's feedback. They just are, so far, I just feel like one of the best companies out there, and they make great editions. This one is one of their just sort of just basic nice editions, you could say, and that would be their edition of Thornhedge. And it's just got some purple there on the pages. But I really liked this cover, and I was planning on getting it anyway. It looks so nice, too, without the sleeve. It just looks fairy tale-esque. And then I recently got the Heroes from them. This matches their edition of Best Served Cold, and it goes well with their editions of First Law. They did, oh man, these look great. They have the matching bookmark that says the Heroes, and then on the back they have a quote. And they have the map when you open it, and when you take it off, it looks so cool without the sleeve. After that, and last for today, we have the first 2 books in the Wolf of Oren Yaru series, and the third one I believe I should be getting pretty soon. I did show these a little bit in another video, but if you haven't seen, they're now tall and hardback because they never came out in hardbacks. The pages are fantastic without their sleeves. They're so cool. So without their sleeves, they remind me a little bit of their editions of Winnowing Flame because they have the wraparound animal, mythological creature on them. So this one has the wolf, and then as you would expect, since the second one is called the Ikasar Falcon, then when you take the sleeve off of this one, you have the falcon, and it wraps around as well. The shine is so nice. And there's a bookmark that goes along with it. I have the bookmark for the second one here. The first one I have used, so it's probably in another book, but here's the bookmark for that one. And I have to say, one of you was nice enough to let me know because I had put the third one on my TBR. I really wanted to finish it before the end of the year, but I'd noted that there was no audiobook, and I didn't know when there would be, if there ever would be an audiobook for the third one. And I was informed that it would seem there is not going to be an audiobook put out by the publisher, but that the author will try to get the rights back to the series and then go ahead and have an audiobook made for the third one once that hopefully happens. And I think in the meantime, they've been self-publishing. And this book, the series, the Wolf of Oren Yaru series, actually started self-published and then got picked up, and then it would seem they're trying to get it back. So maybe traditional publishing just didn't really work. Maybe I don't really know the inside scoop with that situation, but hopefully eventually there will be an audiobook for that third one because I do really like the series. I know audiobooks make reading a lot more accessible for a lot of people, so I hope that more people check the series out. I'm really happy the Broken Binding did this series because I think when they do a series, it gets the attention put on it a lot more than it would otherwise. Like Winnowing Flame had that same thing occur where I think it was already pretty difficult for people to get their hands on. It would sell out. If you were in the US, sometimes it was difficult to get because shipping was so expensive because you had to get it from UK retailers. That has since changed, but the Broken Binding did their editions before that shift happened, and I don't know if maybe them doing what they did helped it get US rights or what, but I'm just happy the Broken Binding. They do a lot of adult fantasy, which is great. They do a lot of the books that the other book boxes aren't doing. They always do a good job, and I think that they're giving a lot of attention to series that really deserve it. So can't wait for the third one to come in. But that's it for this book haul. If you've gotten any of these same editions, what do you think of them? What do you think of the books themselves, the story? Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye.